As George Carlin once said, have you ever noticed that anybody driving slower than you is an idiot, and anyone going faster than you is a maniac? Now, let's dive into the world that gave birth to such wittiness: stand-up comedy. Stand-up comedy as we know it has roots that plunge deep into the era of vaudeville in the United States, a time when entertainment was as diverse as the nation itself. But among the jugglers, acrobats, and singers, a new breed of entertainers began to emerge. These were the comedians, who, armed with nothing but their wit and humor, dared to make the audience laugh. It was the minstrel shows, however, that provided the blueprint for the modern stand-up act. These shows introduced the concept of the one-man show, a single performer commanding the stage, captivating audiences with their tales, jokes, and observations. This was the genesis of modern stand-up, a form of comedy that has since evolved to become a staple of entertainment worldwide. So, from vaudeville stages to our living rooms, stand-up comedy has indeed come a long way. The evolution of stand-up comedy is as intriguing as a well-delivered punchline. In the 1950s and 60s, stand-up comedy began to shift away from the variety show format of vaudeville and into the smoky, intimate settings of nightclubs. This shift allowed comedians to experiment with longer routines and more complex themes. Among these pioneers were major players like Lenny Bruce and Dick Gregory, who pushed the boundaries of what was considered acceptable humor. They used comedy as a form of social commentary, challenging societal norms and sparking thought-provoking conversations. Bruce, a master of satire, often critiqued religion, politics, and sex, while Gregory used his platform to address racial issues, becoming a prominent voice during the civil rights movement. As we moved into the 1980s, the world experienced what is often referred to as the comedy boom. Comedy clubs sprouted up across the country, and stand-up comedy began to be televised more frequently. This growth in popularity made way for a new generation of comedians to take the stage and leave their mark on the industry. Among these were the likes of George Carlin, Richard Pryor, and Joan Rivers. Carlin was renowned for his sharp social critiques and language explorations. Pryor, on the other hand, was a master storyteller, often drawing from his own personal experiences to create poignant yet hilarious narratives. Rivers broke barriers as one of the first women to enter the male-dominated field of stand-up comedy. Her razor-sharp wit and controversial humor made her a household name. These trailblazers shaped the face of stand-up comedy. They pushed boundaries, challenged societal norms, and used humor to explore deep, often uncomfortable truths. Their unique styles and fearless approach to comedy set the stage for the comedians that followed, influencing the evolution of stand-up comedy into what we see today. These comedians not only made us laugh but also made us think, paving the way for the stand-up comedy we know and love today. From stages of nightclubs to screens of Netflix, stand-up comedy has found a new home. The digital era has transformed the way we consume comedy, making it more accessible than ever before. Streaming platforms like Netflix, Amazon Prime, and Hulu have played a significant role in this shift, hosting specials from both established and emerging comedians. Now, stand-up comedy isn't just a Western phenomenon. It's become a global language of laughter, with comedians from diverse cultures sharing their unique perspectives and experiences. We see comedians from India, South Africa, and beyond, tickling our funny bones and making us think. The democratization of comedy has allowed a wider range of voices to be heard, leading to a richer, more diverse comedy scene. It's also enabled comedians to tackle broader social issues, using humor as a lens to examine and comment on the world around us. So whether it's a laugh-out-loud joke or a clever social commentary, stand-up comedy continues to entertain and enlighten us no matter where we are. Just like a good stand-up routine, our journey through the history of stand-up comedy went by in a flash. We've had some good laughs and we've learned a lot. We started with the birth of stand-up comedy back in the days of vaudeville. Who knew that this art form started in variety shows and would grow to become such a significant part of our culture? Then we traced the evolution of stand-up. We saw how trailblazers like Lenny Bruce and Richard Pryor shaped the art form, pushing boundaries and challenging societal norms with their comedic genius. We saw how they influenced the world of comedy, creating a platform for future generations of comedians. Finally, we looked at the current state of stand-up comedy. Thanks to streaming platforms, comedy is now more accessible than ever. It's become a global phenomenon, providing entertainment and laughter to people across the world. In the words of the great Jerry Seinfeld, "We're all trying to get a good laugh. It's the key to everything. It's the end and the beginning. So keep laughing and keep exploring the wonderful world of stand-up comedy.